Hello, Forsy friends. Welcome to another video that was voted by my Discord server that was originally titled Why Mr. Nothing Should Get an Event. This video topic was inspired by an old Tumblr post I made where I asked the Arknights community on Tumblr what incredibly self-indulgent thing that they would want to see in Arknights. I gave my own example of something like that by describing an event centered around Mr. Nothing, a 5-star operator that debuted in the Who Is Real event, and most importantly, a real goofball of a guy that's hiding a secret that he doesn't want you in particular to know about. It's a year old and my tone is a bit cringy, but I think I illustrated my thoughts pretty well and I got some cool responses out of it. Here's how I describe the event of my dreams. As an example, I would love for there to be an event that specifically centered around Mr. Nothing and the Who Is Lingering crew, having to go back to his hometown where Mr. Nothing has to confront his past once and for all, and the story is themed around not letting the past control you anymore and moving on. The event would have the style and aesthetic of the Bruce Lee films and wuxia dramas, especially its music. It could be where they give Mr. Nothing an altar and Hibiscus a skin in the 0011 series so she could match with Cruz and Lava. Who Is Lingering Crew, by the way, is a name I use to refer to both the Who Is Real cast and the Lingering Echoes cast together, minus Saga. Sorry, girl. I just have the brain worms for them. Still kinda do, but my brain has 5 other different hyperfixations fighting for dominance, and right now Nirnama is winning most of the time, so... regardless, I think I've explained the how of Mr. Nothing's event pretty clearly there, so now I think I should be able to explain the why, and that involves diving a bit deeper into Mr. Nothing's themes and what he's meant to represent. Why am I so compelled for an event about Mr. Nothing? Well, he's my favorite character, obviously. I have a bunch of mini Mr. Nothings on my stream just because I think he's cute, but also I believe his character covers a lot of themes surrounding regret and the past that also connects with a few other characters that I think could be explored in an event. I also want to make it clear that I don't envision the story as an anniversary Sui event. Anniversary events center around the Sui siblings that are meant for celebrating CNY, and that has its own themes of finding peace with the past, present, and future, fitting for New Year's celebration events. While I will connect the two somewhat, I'm mostly exploring Mr. Nothing and his group a bit separately from the everything going on in the Sui events. I'm imagining it basically more as a supplementary spin-off to focus more on the characters and their stories. Last but not least, I want to clarify that I know all of this sounds overindulgent and I'm embracing that. I don't think Arknights would be better or worse with or without a Mr. Nothing event. The purpose of this video is for me to yap about one of my interests, and it's also my channel so I can do whatever I want. I think that's enough of an intro. Let's actually start talking about it.
Part 1. Mr. Nothing and his backstory.
Jumping straight into it, I'll have to explain Mr. Nothing and some of the themes of Who Is Real. Mr. Nothing has characterization outside of Who Is Real, but that is the event where he gets the most amount of screen time. Mr. Nothing was a protege in martial arts under his master that had to commit suicide because of a rigged match where he accidentally killed his opponent. He's since been on the run from people trying to hunt him down as seen in his operator records. Who Is Real is an event about a lot of things that will require hours of summarizing, but it is mainly about making peace with your past, present, and future, by accepting yourself and the probability of failure that could come by moving forward. To try and skim past the details that don't matter for this video in particular, in the story, Dusk, the main character, is confronted with the idea of taking action for the mere possibility that things could be better in the long run. One of the things that she does is trap the characters, Cruz, Lava, Mr. Nothing, and Saga, in a painted world based on their memories and dark reflections a la Silent Hill. Cruz's world is based on her memory of Beagle, her dearest friend and teammate that possibly fell in battle. Lava's is about being alone, while Mr. Nothing's is the most interesting to me and the most relevant here. Mr. Nothing's world is a timeline where he avenged his master's death and meets a tragic end for it. It's standalone because it's not reliving a past memory like Cruz's or is based on a fear like Lava's. Rather, it's about a future ending for him. When Neon, the other Sui sibling, saves him from this world, she chides him by saying that he isn't doing anything for the rest of his life except for avenging his master, and you even had to kill yourself in your own dream. Really, man? As if this is something that he chose himself. How Dusk's painting worlds work is a bit unclear, but Neon talks to others like this too, saying things like, couldn't you have picked a better ending to Cruz, and tells Lava that Dusk's paintings work as a kaleidoscope to make you reflect and question yourself. So what we can infer is that Dusk's paintings are a reflection based on the fears and what you believe about yourself. Cruz can't move on from the guilt she feels over Beagle, so the painting reflects on that. Lava is scared of being alone, so her world is based on that. It then isn't a stretch, in my opinion, to say that Mr. Nothing believes that he is meant to avenge his master, and that he will meet his own end because of it. And that is pretty interesting in the context of this event. I saved Saga's world for last simply because it's important for the overall conclusion of the event. Her painting world has her facing the different types of bad futures she could face and escaped it with her own will via meditation and accepting those possibilities fully as part of her, and still thrives to use her own effort to escape. It's basically the lesson that the event is trying to teach, that despite the possibility of something bad happening in the future, it doesn't mean you can't still try. And that gets interesting in the context of Mr. Nothing and how I think an event about him would play out.
Part 2. It's the perfect setup for an event.
Mr. Nothing is a swindling ass motherfucker who will scam anyone and everyone out of their money with a goofy ass grin to convince you otherwise. He is also an incredibly self-sacrificing and heroic character underneath all of his cowardice. In his voice lines, it's implied he uses his outstanding ability to run away as a way to help divert attention of enemies so other people can escape. And in the Invitation to Wine event, Mans literally breaks his own legs to fight an enemy who is definitely out of his wheelhouse to beat. All of this would make him an incredibly interesting character to be in the main POV of for an event centered around facing one's past and future. Mr. Nothing gives off the air that he has resigned to his tragic fate, and that is very much different than the acceptance of that same thing. As Saga has demonstrated, it is possible to accept that all these horrible possibilities are a thing without giving up on the present, and most importantly, on yourself. Mr. Nothing has demonstrated an incredibly low view on himself, and that paints how he sees his future. I think there's a very good story to be had here to explore that very concept even more, and it'd also just be easy to find a conclusion on Mr. Nothing's, Cruz's, and Lava's feelings about all of their own backstories. I think that's why I'm so compelled by the idea of an event story about these three. The threads given by them, and notably Mr. Nothing, have just enough meat to fill an event while also not being too overly complex that it require any more than that. Imagine an event where Mr. Nothing does end up having the chance to avenge his master and believing he'll have to go through it alone, but ends up being followed along by Cruz and Lava because, well, they just feel like they have to. I like the idea of seeing an event where these characters get to just talk and be in situations where they have to face their fears and expand on the ideas already presented by Who is Real. What if the future is in fact tragic? What do we do after that? What is that balance between acceptance and fighting for a better future that we have to strive for exactly? Just thinking about it and how the writers of Hypergriff will handle it gets me excited. It makes me want to write it myself as fanfiction. It's all just so interesting to think about. And I think that's just a strength that Arknights has in general.
Conclusion and outro.
Arknights is very, very good at making characters that you just want to see more of. I have a genuine belief that every character in the game has at least one person rooting for an event story, and that's not exactly an easy thing to do. You know, it's kinda like how every Pokemon has at least one superfan. We could make a discussion that this is arguably a strength that gacha live service games have in general, and Arknights utilizes it the best, but that's going a bit too far out of the scope of this video. Rather, I'm highlighting to show just how vibrant and alive the world of Arknights is because of this. It's a game that encourages its players to imagine these characters as stars of their own hypothetical event stories and get excited for it. Arknights puts just as much emphasis on the summer events as they do on big, important lore events for this reason. It's good, and it's nice to remember that I like Arknights specifically for this aspect, even if I didn't realize it until I made this video. Speaking of which, that's the end of it. Yeah, sorry that this video was so short. I really did just want to ramble a bit about my favorite character and why I like Arknights so much. You know what? I'm happy about that. Anyways, if you like this video, like, subscribe, do all the things YouTubers ask you to do, yada yada yada. If you like the art I made here for this video, I have commissions and my Ko-Fi open if you want to see some exclusive stuff or just my stuff in higher quality. You could also get monthly memberships to get your name read out at the end of the video, like this. Thank you to Kaiser, Elucia, Lijo, and J8 for being members. Thanks so much, y'all. I appreciate it. Oh, and also, by the time that this video is up, there should be another poll for April's video in the Discord server. So if you're interested on wanting to vote on that, it's there. These are the video topic lists. Go have fun. Anyways, that's all from me. Stay safe, my foresty friends.